Hello YouTube, and welcome to the first episode of the upcoming series where we interview various experts about WordPress and related trending topics. I'm Arek, Growth Hacking Team Lead at 10web, and I'm super excited to kick off this series. We're hoping to provide you with a ton of valuable content about WordPress and website building. Now, our today's topic is about the quickest ways of building a fully optimized WordPress website. And I know that this might be a very extensive and difficult topic, so this is why we are joined today by Alexander Oni, who is an experienced WordPress instructor, founder of the WebMonkey Academy, and creator of the WebMonkey YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoy the video.
This video is brought to you by 10web, automated WordPress platform specifically designed for agencies. Sign up for a 14-day free trial right now and experience the true innovation.
Hey Alex, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, Alec, thank you for having me.
Okay, so to start things off, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, like when and how you got into WordPress?
Yeah, so, well, I built my very first WordPress website back in 2011. So let's say about 10 years now, I have been involved with WordPress. Before WordPress, I was a web developer. I was building websites with, custom HTML and CSS. And then I don't quite remember how I got introduced to WordPress itself, but somehow I found WordPress and I started building websites with it, and I've fell in love with WordPress, and I've been using WordPress ever since.
Okay, so the first website you built was not on WordPress. So can you tell a little bit more about the very first WordPress-based website you built? Like, was it easy for you? Did it take an eternity? And what were some of the key takeaways you learned from that?
Well, it wasn't easy. Of course, whenever you learn how to use like a brand new kind of software or a new kind of tool, it takes time for you to actually become proficient at using it. So it did take me a while, but eventually I did build the website. It was called the American Salad Bowl. It was supposed to be a blog, with blog articles about, what it's like to be an international student in the United States, because I actually got to the US in 2011 as a foreign student. So I thought there are so many other foreign students out there who would like to learn what it's like to be, a student in America. So my idea was to have this blog and write about my experiences, how I got my internship, how I got my first job, things like that. And it was really interesting. I think the real takeaways was not really about building the website itself. It was more about me actually now interacting with real people coming to my site. And that's, I think, what was the main benefit. It wasn't really about building the website. It was about what I could do with the website once I had built it. Because now I started to learn how to build a mailing list, how to email my subscribers, things like that. So I believe firmly that when you build a website, it's not really just about you building the website. It's about what comes next. The actual experience of managing the website, improving on it, and then interacting with those who come to your website. So,
yeah, that's absolutely true. Like, managing the website is the hardest part. But going back to our main topic of today's conversation. So what do you think are some of the best and quickest ways of starting the process of building a website on WordPress? Can you walk us through the initial steps that you usually do?
Right. So here's the thing, okay? Every website primarily has two main components. You have the functionality aspects, and then you have the design aspects. The functionality is really more about what you can accomplish with the website. Can you sell things? Can you build a mailing list? It's also about what people can do when they come to your site. Can they subscribe to your mailing list? Can they buy things, stuff like that? So you first of all need to ask yourself, what kind of website am I building here? What are the functionality aspects? And then second would be the design aspects, like the general design, the typography, the color scheme, things like that. The reason why it's very important that you start with that first is that with WordPress, you have, I'm not sure what the exact number is, but you have at least about 7,000 themes available right now. If you don't know what you want right from the get-go, it's easy to get distracted. You go to Theme Forest, for example, right? You go there and you have like hundreds of really good themes. It's like you can spend a whole week just going through themes. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Like, which one do you choose? Which is why I always recommend, before you look at those themes, ask yourself, okay, what am I going for here? What exactly do I want? When you know what you want, it becomes more difficult to get distracted. You know exactly what you want. You can go in and then pick the theme and then pick the plugins that you want to work with. So that for me would be the quickest way. First of all, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish with this website? What's the general design? When you have that in mind, then you can go out and begin to explore. Choose the theme, and then you choose your plugins. That's, for me, the easiest way to get started with WordPress.
Okay, a quick follow-up question to the themes that you mentioned. So what would you recommend people to choose? Like a template with more customization opportunities, or like a template or theme that corresponds the best to their specific needs?
It all depends. It really all depends. If you're a beginner, it's always best to just go with a theme that matches best what you're looking for. But if you're someone who, you have a relative experience working with WordPress, you already have certain skills that you can use to, adapt, customize the way the website looks like, then you can go for more of the templates kind of theme that, offers you more customization options. But if you're a beginner, if you're new to WordPress, just go with the theme that strikes your fancy. Pick the theme and just work with it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So now I would like to talk about a topic that has been trending in WordPress community for some time, which is a fully optimized WordPress website. Well, you have a lot of experience in the field, and I'm sure many of the viewers are already familiar with your YouTube channel, WebMonkey. And so what do you personally consider to be a fully optimized WordPress website?
It's a good thing you said, what do you personally, consider to be an optimized website? Because if you ask different people, they'll give you different answers. To someone who is an SEO, if you ask them, okay, what would you consider to be a fully optimized website? They're thinking SEO. Your posts has keywords, it has this, it has that. But if you ask somebody who is more into security, like I am, I'm thinking about, okay, the security. Is it fully optimized for security? But is it also fully optimized for speed? How quick do your pages load? So if you ask me personally, what would you consider to be a fully optimized website? I will say one where the pages, the posts load under 3 seconds max, and also has basic security features. That's what I would consider to be a fully optimized WordPress website.
Thanks for your great points, and that's definitely something we value here at 10web as well, like speed and security. And talking about speed, I know there are many different speed optimizers who try to optimize your website based on changing different parts of your website. What do you think about them?
Well, you're asking me about the biggest factors contributing to speed.
I was kind of asking you feedback about like different speed optimizers, but yeah, sure, that's actually a great point. Let's go to first contributing factors.
Well, for me, hosting is the key. See, the thing about speed optimization is you have about 2 or 3 aspects that contribute like 90% of the entire speed of a website, and then the remaining 7 or 8 factors contribute like the remaining 10%. Hosting is probably the single most important. I don't care how optimized your website is. If you're using shared hosting as an example, you will struggle to compete with a website that has cloud hosting. Cloud hosting is superior. It's much faster than shared hosting. So hosting for me would be the #1 factor. If you're really serious about speed, you want to go with cloud hosting. If you can. Of course, it's a bit more expensive than shared hosting, but if speed is your priority, then definitely you want to go with cloud hosting over shared hosting. The second key factor for me would be caching. Caching plays a very, very, very important role. So if you want to use plugins like, say, WP Rocket as an example, okay, or W3 Total Cache, I believe that's what it's called. You have all these caching plugins that play a key role. So for me, the two biggest factors for speed would be hosting, would be caching, and then third would be plugins that you have installed on your website. The kinds of plugins that you have installed. You have certain plugins that can drain resources because they're like all these, gigantic plugins that use so much resources. They will slow down your website. Those are for me are the three main factors: hosting, caching, and then plugins installed on the website.
Okay, so hosting, caching, and plugins. Those are the pro tips from you to pay the most attention. So WordPress is a multi-vendor solution, and these three things, like both hosting, plugins, caching, all of that are in many cases, and correct me if I'm wrong, are provided by different vendors, like different companies. So, and how do you do so that all of those work together well and don't affect the speed of the website?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a tough one. One of the advantages of WordPress is that it's open source. You have so many developers out there building plugins, building themes. You have so many hosting companies out there offering the different kinds of hosting for WordPress. The disadvantage now is that, okay, how do you get all these different services, all these different plugins to work well together? It is a challenge. It is a challenge, no doubt. And honestly, there is no easy answer to the question. It's all really about trial and error. So if you're comfortable with a hosting provider, you've gotten yourself a very nice theme, and then you install a plugin from another vendor and you like the plugin, but then you realize that, hold on a second, my performance has drained ever since I used this plugin. Well, the beauty about WordPress, especially with plugins, is that you have over 60,000 right now. I guarantee you that you're going to have an alternative to that plugin out there. So it's up to you right now to do your research, find out what the best alternative to that plugin is, and then try the other plugin. At the end of the day, and I'm talking specifically about plugins, at the end of the day, plugins are just code. They're code that if you hire a developer out there, they can actually custom code this to your website. So if you realize that I have this plugin, it's really awesome, but it's slowing down my website, and I've not been able to find a good alternative, at the end of the day, you always have professional WordPress developers out there that you can hire, and they can custom code whatever you're trying to achieve with that plugin, and it's going to make a world of difference, really.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely true. And since you talked about like doing research and finding different alternatives of plugins alongside hiring developers, do you have some favorite forums or maybe Reddit channel, subreddits where you go look for this information?
Not specifically Reddit. Google is always your best friend when it comes to finding alternatives. Personally, well, for me, it's been a very long time since I actually built websites for clients. The websites I build these days are primarily for myself. If I'm teaching my students how to build a certain kind of website, that's typically what I would do. I'll just build my own website, use my own plugins. But for someone out there looking for alternatives, hey, you have, like you say, you've got Reddit, you have Google, you have a lot of websites dedicated specifically to WordPress. You can go to wpbeginners.com, for example. It's one of the best websites for learning how to do things with WordPress. So really, at the end of the day, Google would be your best friend for searching for information regarding WordPress, really.
Okay, that's perfect. So Googling everything that we can find solutions to. And if something doesn't work, again, going to Google. Okay, and one very quick question. So when building a fully optimized website, how much time does the actual coding take when you compare it to the rest of the optimization?
Are you asking about the importance of coding?
Not just importance, but more like time consumption. How much time coding takes?
Yeah. So for me, I've always said that that's one of the beauties about WordPress. Okay, you have themes built for you, you have plugins built for you already. It saves you so much more time to just use really good plugins and use really good themes. However, obviously, if it comes to a point where you do have to build a custom website for a client, and they want it to be custom, they don't want to use plugins out there, they don't want to use themes, they want you to develop a specific theme, use specific code for the website, then obviously that can take quite a while. How long that will take really depends on the level of complexity. It depends on the kind of website you're actually trying to build. Obviously, if you're trying to build a blog, the code it's simple. It's not going to take an eternity to build a blog with custom code, right? But if you're trying to build a social media website like, say, Facebook, for example, right? That's obviously a massive difference. So that's going to take a whole lot longer, obviously. However, let me just say that at the end of the day, unless it's a priority that your code is custom, that you're using custom code, just use themes out there and use plugins. Specifically with plugins as well, paying for a plugin isn't a bad idea. It's actually a very, very good idea to go for plugins that are premium that actually cost you some money. The reason being that, and especially when you buy premium plugins from reputable developers, what you're going to get is 9 times out of 10, you will get yourself a really good plugin that has really good code that will not slow down your website. And then second is going to be the support that you're going to get from the developers of the plugin. So even if you run into any trouble with the plugin, you can always go to the website, you go to their FAQs, or open up a support team, and they will be obligated to respond to you because you are a paying customer. So that's about what I would say, regarding code and stuff like that.
I absolutely agree with that point, because in some cases it takes a week or even more until customer support gets back to you, and your business is just stopped and not working for some time.
Yeah. Again, like I said, unless there's a very specific reason why they want custom code, just go with the easy options. You don't have to make life more difficult for yourself. Let me just give a little rant here. I know there are people out there who would call themselves purists. We don't use WordPress. We're going to use custom code. We're going to use HTML and CSS and JavaScript and PHP. Hey, power to you. It's all good. If you're old school, if you believe in using custom code, power to you. But hey, the world is moving on. It doesn't make any sense for you to spend 10 hours working on the code when you could easily just download the plugin and have that code within 5 minutes. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. So you mentioned about saving time using WordPress, and that's definitely a great point. And since WordPress is developing very quickly and it has many contributors, what do you think are some of the trends going into 2021? And where do you think the overall WordPress industry is shifting towards?
Let me just say this right now. One of the reasons why I actually agreed to come on this show and talk to you guys was because of your product. I think your builder, your artificial intelligence builder, is actually the future of WordPress. I think we're heading to that stage right now where it's going to be about automation. It's really going to be about making it a lot easier for people to build websites. Maybe not just with WordPress in general, but in general, yes, you can build websites a lot easier. So it's going to be about automation, having automated backups, for example. You create one template and then you can use that template over and over and over again. So I believe the future of WordPress is going to be, it's going to be even a lot easier for people to build websites with WordPress, specifically through automation. And I think that your builder, is already kind of like a peek into the future of WordPress, I think.
Okay, so just to clarify, you think that AI is going to transform WordPress the same way as it transforms everything, basically?
Absolutely. Hey, AI is coming, whether you like it or not. It's going to affect every industry. And I think the web development industry, WordPress in particular, I think AI is going to play a big, big role very, 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 very soon.
So you mentioned our AI builder, which basically just creates copies on WordPress using Elementor of the websites and you just have to provide the link. So how do you think it will change the way agencies and freelancers do coding, like besides saving their time, of course, as you mentioned?
Well, that's a tough one. For me, the key factor here is always going to be them saving time. It's really, for me, I think the biggest change here is going to be how much time you're going to spend creating templates and working on code. I think time saver is going to be the big change. It's going to be the big difference. Other than that, regarding agencies specifically, I'm maybe not the best person to ask this question because I'm an individual developer. I don't really work for an agency. I don't have an agency. So I used to work for a WordPress development company many years ago, but that was like 5-6 years ago. So I am maybe not the best person to ask how it's going to impact agencies in particular. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we could 100% continue this conversation more and more and more and talk about a bunch of things WordPress related. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure all the viewers will appreciate it as well. And I'm going to put all of your links in the description below. But if somebody wants to find you and stay in touch, what is the best way for our audience to contact you?
Well, you can shoot me an email, alex@thewebmonkeyonline.com. I am on YouTube, the Web Monkey Academy, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm also into cybersecurity as well. So I do have another YouTube channel called Lab Cyber. I do have labcyber.com, which is actually the academy where I host my online courses for cybersecurity. And of course, webmonkeyacademy.com is where you can find my WordPress courses. That's it. I am on Instagram as well. I'm not really that active on Instagram, but it's Xander, that's XANDER_travel. So in case you're interested, you want to see my pictures from all over the world, because I do tend to travel quite a lot. I post a lot of pictures. If you're interested, you can check me out on Instagram. So yeah.
Awesome. And one last question that I'm planning to ask all of our guests. So how did you come up with the name of your YouTube channel?
I tell it's funny because somebody asked me the same question a few months ago, and honestly, I don't remember. I know that I think I was doing my research for how to name your YouTube channel and things like that, and animals were like constantly mentioned, giraffe and panda and monkey and shark and things like that, and I think I just said, hey, web, it's websites. Yeah, just Web Monkey. I was thinking of WordPress Monkey at some point, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of like a mouthful, WordPress Monkey. No. Let's just make it easy, make it simple. Web Monkey. Honestly, I don't know. I remember. It's been, I came up with the idea, I think 6 years ago now. 6 years ago, so it's been a while. Or maybe I was just taking a shower, I was in the bathroom taking a shower and I said, Web Monkey. And I was like, okay, yeah, Web Monkey. I don't know. I remember.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Alex. It was perfect. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you,
and thank you for all of your input. And as always, liking your channel here as well, sharing your knowledge and your thoughts. Thank you.
My pleasure, Alec. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
This video is brought to you by 10Web, automated WordPress platform specifically designed for agencies. Sign up for a 14-day free trial right now and experience the true innovation.